Welcome to Big Brother Basics, where we break down the basics of Big Brother 17. My name's Jacob Harple, and joining with me, as always, is the fantastic, the fabulous Keith Guerrero. How are you doing tonight, Keith?
I'm doing fantastic and fabulous. Thank you so much for having me. It really means a lot. It's a pleasure to be here. The pleasure's all mine.
Yes, and joining with us as well as always and forever, it's the ecstatic, erratic Aaron Nunley. How are you tonight, Aaron?
I'm great. Thank you for asking me. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything. Thanks a lot.
Okay, all right. The fakeness, it needs to stop. I'm done.
He was hit by a train, Jacob.
This episode is already a train wreck. Okay, for real though, we have so much to talk about because we didn't talk about the eviction episode because you know what? Big Brother Basics, we're always trying to upgrade, and so we thought, you know what, these people, we need a 2-for-1 special, so why not take the eviction episode and the nomination episode, blam them together, and then talk about it. So we're going to talk about the eviction episode right now. Big things I want to talk about, Aaron. So Jace gets put on the block. He is the victim of a cruel backdoor, and he hits the ground running campaign-wise. What did you think of Jace's overall strategy as far as trying to rally the votes?
I don't know if I'd use the word cruel backdoor. I mean, you are what you give off to the house. If you're going to act annoying and act cocky, then when you get backdoored, I don't feel sorry. I'm just going to help you pack your bags and help you walk that way. But as far as his gameplay, too little too late. You should have been working on your game the minute you step into the house instead of trying to make Chilltown 2.0, 3.0, whatever number it is. Like, I don't feel sorry for him and how it turned out for him.
Keith, do you feel like when it comes to like campaigning, less is more?
It depends on the person. There are some people that have the power to influence in a position of perceived weakness. And then there's other people where it'll do more harm than good. In Jace's case, he just needed to be chosen for veto. I don't really know if he had the social prowess to pull anything off strategically. And then he just was completely off-putting socially. So he was at lost cause once he was put on the block.
Yeah, it was pretty certain he was going home, and definitely was not a surprise when it turned out to be a 12-1 vote. So we have Audrey throwing out a hinky vote, which we never really got an explanation for in this episode or last night's episode. Aaron, what do you think? What was the motive behind Audrey and her vote?
I don't think there was a motive, and there doesn't have to be a motive, because I feel like if I were in the house and there was a clear-cut target, I'm throwing a hinky vote. It doesn't matter. Like, what are you gonna do? Are you really gonna go around fighting people? You will have to watch the tape before you get me to admit that I was the one that did that vote. So it doesn't even matter. Audrey, throw your hinky vote.
Keith, what are your thoughts?
I agree. I just wish more people would just throw random hinky votes. And maybe there are. Maybe they just didn't want to do it the first week. But Audrey stepped up to the plate, threw that hinky vote, and tried to cause some more, paranoia that she didn't already cause with just being Audrey and in the house.
Exactly. And hey, speaking of more people, one of the big things we learned in the eviction episode was that there are, in fact, more than 16 house guests. There's a 17th house guest, a mysterious twin that we don't know about until right now. It is revealed that Liz is, in fact, the twin twist. Aaron, how did you feel about, finally knowing that it's Liz? What? What is that?
Who's Liz?
The twin.
He's acting very much like Annie, because Annie got no airtime and then she was evicted. Who's the saboteur? Liz, she's the twin, but who is she? I don't know who she is.
Literally,
is Liz going to be the next Annie? Is that what you're implying?
Surviving this twin twist is going to do so much for Liz, because if she doesn't make it through this twin twist, she's going to be off in the wind, literally, like Annie. like all the other people that got evicted earlier that you don't remember, like I just don't know who Liz is. I don't know where she stands. I don't know who she's with. I don't know what she does in the house. So hopefully she can survive and then get attacked when her twin gets in the house.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Keith, do you feel like this twist is kind of a lose-lose for Liz? Either she gets out early and, is out, or she survives the 5 evictions, Julia comes in, and then if history repeats itself like in Big Brother 5, they get taken out simultaneously. So what do you think about Liz in this twist?
Well, I think that, I never want to judge a book by its cover. I don't want to say that history will indeed repeat itself, even though evidence shows that history does indeed repeat itself in Big Brother. But I do think that it's a lose-lose situation. I think it's going to be impossible for Liz to make it week 5 without any sort of troubles, because I do see her kind of like at the low end of the social strategy realm. And then if she even does make it there, she's just going to get an even bigger target with her twin coming inside the house. So all Liz needs to do is accept her 15 minutes of fame and then do public speeches after she's evicted from the game.
I want to add, you didn't ask me, so I
Sorry.
have something to say, but you're okay. Just don't do it again. I don't really think, well, first off, I don't think history will repeat itself in the same fashion, because if you rewind the tapes of time, go back to season 5, Adria and Natalie, the twins, for those who don't know, of that season, they got a little cocky and they turned on their alliance the week that Natalie got into the house. I wouldn't say that Liz would do that, but also Adria, like her persona, the way that she played the game, completely shifted when her twin got in the house. So maybe Liz will do it, and the twins get in the house and they feel like they filmed themselves. But I don't really see that happening. I don't feel like Julia would get in the house and then they'd be like, "Oh, we run something. We run this. Let's take out all of our allies, not just enemies, allies." So I don't think in that sense it'd be the same. Do I think that one of them would be nominated and evicted like as soon as possible? Yes, but I don't think that both of them would be knocked out just because they're twins. Like maybe further down the road, but I think one of them can do decently.
Yeah. Well, only time will tell, but she's got 4 more evictions to go, and we'll keep our fingers crossed for Julia.
Or not.
And Liz. Or not, doesn't matter. It just depends where you are. So let's talk about the HOHs, because I thought we got 2 very interesting HOHs. We had Becky and Shelly. Keith, what was your reaction to seeing these 2 females win HOH?
When you say interesting, you mean bland, because there's no other word to describe people that make no impact. Shelly is bland. Becky is basic. Like, got a double B situation going on in the HOH bedroom.
Like a surprise.
Like Big Brother Basics. We got some big basic HOH.
What a surprise. Like, it's interesting because you didn't see it coming. You looked out from behind that bus and you didn't see Becky coming. Like, that type of surprise.
Hey, let's refrain from the automobile talk when referring to Becky, please. Can we have some respect on this show, please? Thank you.
I'm just saying.
I would align with her.
You didn't see it coming.
I'm saying I would align.
Neither did she. So anyway,
literally, that's Becky's storyline, though, because the only time we got to see a glimpse of Becky's personality was her talking about that story. Anything else is a scripted DR. Oh, Shelly's going to carry out my plans. I got absolutely no blood on my hands. My HOH reign's going to happen through Shelly. And Shelly's just playing her like a fiddle. So Becky's only personality is us knowing that she had surgery on her face.
Yeah, it was pretty apparent that Becky thought she knew what was going on, and she, I think this episode kind of summarized Becky's gameplay pretty well, or at least her current situation in the house, where she kind of has an okay idea of what the main strategy or the main event, like all the different events that are going on, but she has no clue about the intricacies of what's going on, who's actually close with who, what the plan is, and she was completely left out of the loop of what the of what Shelley's true intentions were. But before we get into the nominations and all that, I want to talk about the Audrey versus Davon house meeting. So basically, as we've known, Audrey has been telling a ton of lies within the house, pitting people against each other, creating rumors, utilizing those rumors to turn people against others. I think I literally just said that. But anyway, Davon gets in a fight with her because of something that Vanessa reveals that was said to her. He shed, she shed, blah, 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 blah. Aaron, what are your thoughts?
Audrey is this season's Brian Hart. She's playing so hard, so fast, for no reason, because I don't think she needs to. Like, as a big character and a big personality, you don't need to be playing that hard. And it's funny because I guess she doesn't, I feel like she really doesn't know Vanessa enough to know Vanessa's like thought process and her style. Vanessa is like, oh, I'm just going to go and ask them. I'm just going to go check. That's how I am. I'm not going to believe you. I'm going to go check.
Check the facts. You're in for a sweet surprise.
And she's kind of like, I didn't think she was going to go and, ask somebody. I thought she was going to believe me, her closest ally. Like, so that's kind of like, come on, girl. Like, you can't claim that you're like a big super fan if you're going to go around. Like, I don't think she needs to go around making all these lies and stuff, but like, have a backup plan, a plan B, a plan C if someone were to put the pieces together, because they're going to. It just depends on when they're going to, and they did.
And something else is that you describe it as a fight between Audrey and Davon, and Audrey kind of wants to, plant a lot of little seeds so that there's a lot of mistrust between other people. But that fight was planted because of Vanessa. Audrey's kind of falling into Vanessa's game because Vanessa was the one that walked into the room and said, hey, I'm just going to put this out there. You said this, Audrey. I'm confronting you about it. Oh, the source is right here. You want to say that Davon said it in front of Davon? And then that all blew up to the benefit of Vanessa's game. Vanessa disappeared. Vanessa's the one that started the conversation. Davon took over, initiated, attacked. Audrey played victim. And all of a sudden, Vanessa's in a great position when her game could have been blown out of proportion for falsely leading an all-female alliance. Mm-hmm. So props to Vanessa. That was completely great on her end.
Oh, yeah. I think Vanessa came out looking really well. She's someone that hasn't really established anything with anyone. And so it's good that she was able to really just destroy that rumor of her being the mastermind of an all-female alliance. And I think she victimized herself to an extent, not so much to where it's like, but enough to where people, do feel bad for her and feel like they might have misjudged her. And I think she's definitely opened herself up and looked really good at the end of that argument. I think Audrey's problem is that, in the Big Brother house, you have to assume that people are always going to talk. And one thing you say to someone is more than likely going to get to 5 other people. And it's like Audrey's game for me in this first week is just like a giant juggling act. And she keeps throwing balls of the ball in the air and trying to juggle all these different conversations and getting people to be like, hey, you got to trust what I'm saying. Don't worry about what they're saying. They're lying to you. I'm what's telling you the truth. And finally, it all just came crashing down. Keith, what do you think of Audrey's strategy to just kind of lay down and die? It looks like she's completely alienated herself from the rest of the house. Do you think that this is a valid strategy or is only kind of making matters worse?
I'm surprised. Like, good job, Audrey. Like, I thought that she was going to, because, if she was another hot mess that just constantly wanted attention, she could have easily got herself evicted week 2 by just continuing her ways, juggling even though I would argue she's like throwing pieces to the ground, she's not juggling, but like she is literally doing what she wants to do if she wants any chance at longevity in this game. Her game was exposed. She's known as being a shit talker. Now it's time for her to relax, shut up, sit down, mouth closed, eyes open. And she knows how to open her eyes.
I just want to let you guys know I'm not talking any game.
Yeah.
Not on my list of things to do.
I just love that shot of Audrey by herself saying, well, that could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
you're completely done, and you're saying that it could be a lot worse. Like, I'm pretty sure it's like as bad as it could get. So like her not doing anything, props to her. That shows me that she has some sort of intelligence despite not having any sort of connection with all of her lies.
right. And I mean, she's played pretty badly, or overplayed a lot, but I'm not gonna lie, it was really funny just to kind of see her just be like, well, that didn't work out very well. So I don't know. I think Audrey still has a lifeline in this game, and that lifeline's name is Shelly. And that's what I want to talk about, because honestly, if there was anyone that Audrey needed to be in that HOH room beside herself, it was Shelly. Shelly seems to be the only one that's really giving Audrey the benefit of the doubt and doesn't want Audrey to leave this game. And I think this is a very big topic that I really want to talk about. One of two very interesting situations. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Keith, Shelly wants to keep Audrey safe because she believes that Audrey is a strong ally for her, that Audrey would always go before she would. What do you think of this strategy? Is this good, or is this bad for Shelly in the long term?
In my opinion, like, I thought about this a lot because, we've had a couple days to think about it. And I think that Shelly was in a position where she's damned if she does and she's damned if she doesn't. If she gets rid of Audrey, she's still going to be a target because of her relationship with Clay, and she just finished being HOH, showing that she can win a competition and maintain power. So she's a target in that sense. So she could either do the house's bidding, get rid of Audrey, who she really doesn't have any connection to wanting to get rid of her, or she can get rid of her own agenda, which is getting rid of Davon. And so for her targeting Davon and nominating her target straight up, I give Shelly a ton of respect. I think that that's the way to go. I like her HOH train. She's the one that's in control. Yes, she's talking to Clay about her nominations, but she's talking, like, who wouldn't talk to their allies about who to nominate? And I think that her nominating Davon gave Davon a lot of chances to potentially remove herself from the block. But yeah, Davon has like an uphill battle from this point on. So I really like Shelly's tactic this week.
And do you think that Shelly's in a situation where she's gaining more enemies than allies, or is she kind of helping herself out, kind of like what Keith said?
I definitely think that she's going to gain a lot of enemies from this week. Not only the people who don't agree with what she did with her HOH, but also anyone who feels like Becky, because Becky is going to feel some sort of way to have been, like, I don't know how she would feel betrayed or lied to. And it's only going to ostracize Shelly more than she already is with Clay. And I'm sure Clay is going to be a target for that with Shelly. So do I think that she was screwed over either way a little bit, but I feel like this way she's screwed over a little bit more just because everybody wouldn't be after Shelly. I don't think Becky would have been. I don't think certain people would have been, to an extent, the people who are against Audrey. But I think now they might be a little bit more against Shelly. So I think this was not the right route long term for her. But I mean, either way, she's going to have an uphill battle. So
yeah, but that's also her fault for having such a transparent game. Secrecy is everything. True. Secrecy is everything. So if you want Davon to be your ally and have her give you your power and be upset at her for not using the power, that's on you. If you want to be around Clay 24/7 and ask where he is at every single moment of the day, you can't get rid of him, that's on you. So it's a double-edged sword. She should have had more secrecy when it comes to her allies. So she's just playing the cards that she dealt herself.
I will say this, and this isn't a spoiler per se, but Shelly was having a conversation with someone on the live feeds, like in her HOH room, and she made a comment how she was just like, I wish more people would come up here and hang out. Like, why won't more people come up here? And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, Shelly, you're locking yourself up in the HOH room. Like, I feel like this is a mistake that a lot of HOHs make. It's like they almost segregate themselves from the house. Don't expect people to come up to you and like hang out in HOH just because you're HOH. You need to stay down with the rest of the house guests, make it feel like you're not even HOH. Like, because I feel like she alienates herself a little bit, and, it's kind of like she's showing her hand at this point. You know who she's with, you know who she's protecting, you know who she's coming after, which in a way could be a good thing, but for the most part isn't necessarily the best thing. I also want to say that I want to give props to Shelly, because how many times have we complained about certain house guests for just folding to what the house wants? Mm-hmm. You know, props to Shelly for being like, you know what? The house wants Audrey gone. Audrey is a asset to my game. Why would I get rid of an asset when I can get rid of someone that I know I'm not going to work with, that I feel like I don't trust? And, you know, I think whether or not this doesn't work out for her, I do respect that Shelly had the backbone to kind of do what she wanted to do.
Can I also say something? Because I don't necessarily think that Audrey is an asset to Shelly's game, and I don't think Shelly considers Audrey an asset. I just think that she considers Audrey another week, a distraction. So, like, it's an asset in that sense, but I don't think that Shelly has any long-term goals with Audrey. She knows that she can't give Audrey any information. She literally shut down any strategic talk whenever Audrey visited her in the HOH room. So I think that Shelly wants Audrey in for that attention, but I don't think she has any short or long-term plans with Audrey. She just didn't want to waste her own HOH train in getting rid of somebody that so many people want to get rid of.
I agree with that. But I think that's kind of the same case, you know, like, still props to her for being like, I'm going to do what I want, not what the house wants.
Even if it gets her evicted soon.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like, it's that thing where it's like, because I've been thinking about it a lot too, you know, we all have like, is this a good move? Is this a bad move? And it's kind of like one of those things where, well, we'll just kind of see what happens, you know? It can go both ways, and only time will tell.
I just hope it inspires more people to play like Shelly, where they do their own agendas whenever they're HOH and not like worry about who the house quote unquote target is. Get rid of your target. You're the one in power.
Yeah, it's going to look bad, though, if she leaves, because then that's going to create the mindset of, like, oh, I'm just going to do what the house wants from now. So let's hope that Shelly makes it far. Let's be a good example for future house guest, Shelly, please.
But on the flip side, I mean, I could see Becky getting what the house wanted, quote unquote, and then leaving the following week because of her lack of social ties. So, like, it's a double-edged sword regardless of what you do. And I think Shelly decided to play her own game. I'm a fan. Good job, Shelly.
I can't see Becky leaving after that. After that story she gave them.
True. I just don't think she has connections. So I could see her being nominated. She won't necessarily go, but she's a pawn. Easy.
What's the difference between, let's say Shelly got rid of Audrey, right? Mm-hmm. What would be the difference between Shelly getting rid of Audrey and Derek getting rid of Devin from last season? You know, we saw Derek win that HOH. Devin wasn't someone that was coming after him, but in a way, I think Devin really relates to Audrey for Derek, because Devin was a huge target. He wasn't someone that was going to come after Derek, but he did it to appease the house, and then he was able to go back under the radar. So in a way, do you think getting Audrey would have actually helped Shelly?
Do you remember that Derek is, like, the only manipulator in that house? Like, I can't say the same on any level for Shelly. Derek, he lined all the pigs up to slaughter. Like, he was able to use everybody to their potential, or whatever they want to call this gameplay. I don't think that Shelly and Derek's gameplays are anywhere near each other to compare Audrey to Devin like that.
Yeah. And Shelly also has a showmance, and Derek didn't, which is another factor to consider, because she has Clay and her are like this, whereas Cody and Derek, the secrecy of having the secret final two, they're able to slide by together. So
yeah, okay, that's fair. Another big topic that I really wanted to talk about was John. You know, we got a lot of airtime from John last night, and he was basically faced with the decision of whether or not to throw Battle of the Block. I forgot who was all in the room, but it was Shelly, Clay, and then one more person bring John into the room and are basically like, hey, will you be a pawn and throw the Battle of the Block? And he's kind of faced with the decision of whether or not hey, are you guys there?
Google Hangout did not want to hear about John. I apologize. But
wow, John, not a John fan. Google Hangout. Okay, so basically I just wanted to talk about the John throwing. He gets pulled into a room with 3 people, and they're like, hey, will you throw this competition and be the pawn? and he's really faced with a really big decision. So I kind of want to talk about, you know, his approach to that situation and what he ended up doing. Aaron, how do you feel about John?
I like John's character, his personality, where he is in the game. He's very under the radar. Although, obviously, he's not on any. He's pawnable. Like, if you're that low under the radar, you need to make some more connections. You need to get in there. I don't like that 3 people were talking to John about it. It's very intimidating to talk. Like, they might as well have been standing up and him sitting down. Like, it's so intimidating, and it put them 3 together.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, I don't like it. But also, I've been critiquing Shelly's game all the time, so like, of course, I was gonna like it. I don't know whether. Well, first off, at the Battle of Block competition, John didn't have to do anything, so whether he wanted to throw it or not, he's still on the block. But my personal opinion, I'm not throwing anything. Like, I'm not throwing that Battle of Block, even if you want me as a pawn. Even if I'm staying on the block, you're still going after Davon over me. So I wouldn't have thrown it personally, but Davon kind of messed it up for him. So
do you think it was another case of damned if you do, damned if you don't? My thing, I love John a lot, and I want him to do well, but I was really bummed. I don't know. It's a really crappy situation to be in, because if he says yes, which is the safe thing to do, just say yes and then decide whether or not you're going to do it in the moment. It kind of creates this perception of himself that if anyone needs a pawn or if anyone wants someone to throw someone, go to John, go to John, go to John. And that's definitely not what you want to do. You do not want to be on the block. You do not want to be known as the guy throwing things. And I just don't like it. What do you agree, Keith?
I'm listening to what y'all are saying. And what I have to say about John is that, that whole conversation, they weren't asking John.
Right.
They were making it seem like John had an option, but John really was going to go up regardless. And they were extending an olive branch, hoping that John would reciprocate being a happy pawn. So John can fake it till he makes it, but he was going on the block regardless. He could end up having that alliance ship with Clay, Jeff, and Shelly, but he could easily backstab it in a second. What I would do if I was in John's position is I would reflect, what did I do incorrectly for Shelly to think that it's okay for her to come up to me and say, hey, would you mind being a pawn this week? What am I doing incorrectly? Because you should not come to me and ask me to be a pawn. Because I'm a valuable asset to anybody's game. And if you want me to be a pawn, then that means I'm not a valuable asset to you. You're risking me to be eliminated from the game. Therefore, I don't like you. And so I'm going to go after you. So I think that John just needs to figure out what he's doing from people that, quote unquote, want to work with him. Because people that want to work with you don't want to nominate you. So I just hope John figures it out. Also, just on John as a character, I'm getting very Jordan Lloyd vibes where she was nominated consistently very, very early on, but if she makes it to a certain point, he's going to be untouchable. So he just needs to survive this early game.
He just needs his Jeff. And I don't know if the Jeff in this season is the one he wants to attach himself to. Do you think maybe what he should have done was maybe try to meet him halfway? Just be like, listen, I'm happy to go up as a pawn if that's what you guys want, but I don't know if I feel comfortable throwing a competition. So I'll be happy to go up as a pawn, but I don't know if I can agree to throwing the competition. I want to try and win. I want to try and get myself safety. Do you think maybe that would have worked, or is he just going to have to – would he just have had to fully commit, or else he looks bad? Aaron?
I think him nodding silently is perfect. Just silently. You're like, okay.
Yeah, all right.
And you don't want us to talk about trains? You're gonna make that noise, really, Jacob?
I mean, I think there's a difference. Come on, one's a little bit more severe than the other.
You might as well be impersonating Natalie Anderson. Aaron, what do you think?
That's another story. Aaron, what are your thoughts on the situation?
I don't know. You couldn't get me to say yes. You just really couldn't get me to say yes. If you're gonna put me on the block, put me on the block. But I'm fighting for that battle of the block. Like, if you want someone to throw it, you're looking at the wrong person. Like, I'm doing anything and everything to not be on the block, to not give them what they want, because I don't owe you anything. I don't owe you anything. So I don't need to help you get out your target, especially since I think he and Davon are somewhat like on good terms. I don't know if it's like super good or anything, but no, if you want to get Davon out, find another pawn. Next, there's like 14 other house guests here.
Right. No, I think that's fair. But like we said earlier, he really didn't have to do anything to throw it. Davon didn't seem too happy with him during the competition, but I think Davon kind of lost it for them, and she just doesn't want to admit it. I don't know, but they were, regardless of whose fault it was, those two did not work well together, and I thought that Jason and Steve were just on top of that competition. Keith, what did you think of these two teams going at it? Did you think that Jason and Steve just had it in the bag, or who lost it for John and Devon?
Davon.
Mm-hmm.
Jason and Steve had the winning strategy, and after they were watching that mess to their left, they were having a leisurely stroll in the backyard. It was a really nice time to just walk around, take some pictures of some backyard items. Davon, I think, was really stressed. She was really the only person offering any form of thought, and they were bad thoughts, so she only had her thoughts to go off of. She opened up all the cameras, and that's a huge mistake. Sucks for Davon, but she just was competing in a one-woman show, and she didn't have the winning strategy.
Also, I'd just like to point out that this is probably the most disappointing Battle of the Block competition that I've seen, because I thought, like, oh, after they get like, a couple of cameras, like some paint's coming out of, like, there was literally, like, I feel like that competition took 6 minutes. Like, it didn't seem like anything. Like, where is Paula swinging from her weave? Like, it just was too simple.
Yeah. For like some things to fall, like, oh shoot, which camera do I need to readjust?
Yeah, I just thought it was so basic. I don't know why Becky wasn't competing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Becky. What? Mm-hmm, yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening. Do you think that Becky's the first ever HOH that was excited that her noms won the Battle of the Block?
No.
All right, well, I just wanted to make sure. All right, well, thanks everybody for watching. And yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Is there anything else you want to cover? Anything else from the last night's episode or the eviction episode that we're kind of missing?
I don't know. I feel for my girl Davon. I just kind of
Is Davon dead day walking?
She might be, and when I like somebody, like a house guest, and they're getting evicted, like, you kind of just don't want to watch the episode. You just kind of want to skip to when they're already out of the house, because
it's painful to watch.
Yeah, it's painful to watch.
Rip the Band-Aid off. Just rip it off. Just rip it off.
Yeah. I think Davon was dealt a difficult amount of house guests to like interact with, work with this season. Hand. Difficult hand, because she deals hands all day.
You were all about the cards.
So I feel bad that Davon didn't have people that nourished her and helped her to win the game. But if it was that simple in Big Brother, then anybody could win. Davon was very rootable. I'm still rooting for her. I do think she's a dead day walking, but there's always veto. There's always campaigning till Thursday, so we'll see what happens.
There's also the
it's a twist.
Takeover twist.
Yeah. And
so who knows? I don't like counting someone out 100%, even I also never really counted Jace out 100%. You never know what's going to happen. We've seen this game flip so many times, so much time between now and Thursday. So I'm really hoping Davon can get out of the situation. And we'll just see what happens. So you definitely want to check out Wednesday's veto episode. Make sure you stay tuned for our breakdown of it following afterwards. Make sure that you are on Twitter during the episode so you can live tweet with us at Jacob Harple, at Most Humble, at Sarcastivities. Make sure you like us on Facebook, Big Brother Basics, and subscribe to our YouTube channel under the same name. And most importantly, stay basic.
Stay Becky.
Stay basic.
Stay Watch out for the train.